Well, good afternoon to you, Chad. Happy weekend. I think I'd like to start off talking about some, I don't know, regionality. Because we've been covering this now for almost 5 weeks. 5 weeks since this has been started. Well, earlier, really, if you started at the origin of what's going on with the disease. But I'm talking about the response, the attitude and the nothing burgerness out there. When it was just confined to China, you got a certain kind of response from people. Is very, very nationalistic, very patriotic. Xi Jinping is going to save us all. China knows what it's doing. It's got it under control. This is a nothing burger. These numbers will burn themselves out. It's only confined to Wuhan. But as it spread internationally, as it started to pop up all over the place, moving into the United States, bringing us to where we are today, a little stream I like to call the Red Coast. Why is it called the Red Coast? Because we've got infected all over the Red Coast, California, Oregon, and Washington. And I've seen a shift take place from that international flavor of a nothing burger, delicious, into a more megapede-like nothing burger. Got a lot of Q boomers out there that are real ass blasted. The people are talking about this. They politicized it. Both sides have, really, trying to make this some kind of an issue between Democrats and Republicans rather than what it is, which is our girl, Corona Chan, just curb stomping the earth like it's a fucking game. And boy, do we have some developments. I mean, we could start with quite a few developments, but let's talk about the death that happened in the United States. Oh my God, it was tragic. Did you watch Trump get up on national television and start off by saying, "Thank you to the American people for your blood and treasure. I'm going to be meeting with the Taliban leadership." Awesome. Good way to start a disease press conference. I don't know what the fuck that was, but okay. All right, it's a bizarre opening, but we can roll with it. That's fine. That's fine. Let's get to the good stuff. And then he told us a tragic tale of the beautiful woman from Washington State that tragically died to the disease. They're just, there's a minor problem, just a teeny, teeny, tiny problem when it comes to that particular hot take. I'll just read you an article to give you an idea of what exactly might have been the terrible problem with that in particular. Where are we here? Here we go. Trump misidentifies first coronavirus fatality in U.S. as a woman. Of course he does. Why wouldn't he? Turns out that beautiful, beautiful woman that tragically died in Washington happened to be a dude. Happened to be a guy. Had a little bit of meat swinging in between his legs. Easy mistake to make. I mix up vaginas and penises all the time. They're confusing. Really, if you were to draw two of them, one on the left side, one on the right side, up on a blackboard, I couldn't tell the difference. Innie, outie. It's like belly buttons, right? That's how genitals work. They all look the same to me. Tragically beautiful, beautiful woman that tragically died. How do you fuck that up? How do you fuck that up and get up on stage and then act like you have any authority to talk on them? I really trust it. I feel more confident now. He's got all the info. Who told him that? Was that the CDC? Was that his buddy Reinfeld that just came up there and said, "Hey, Redfield, whatever the fuck his name is, the fat dude"? Was it the fat dude that said it was a woman? Maybe Mike Pence is having a giggle. He's like, "Hey guys, watch this. I'm gonna tell Trump it's a chick that died. He's gonna get up on stage and say that. It's gonna be funny as fuck." And then he's going to be so mad afterwards, he's not going to know what to do. Or maybe Trump dead named the victim. Maybe she transitioned into a beautiful male, and he just he couldn't let it go. He had to own the libs. Trigger the libs with that one. I don't know. But here we are. He's really had a fucking shit week, hasn't he, Trump? Gets up on television, basically tells you it's a nothing burger. That's the line that's being generated around the fucking world. We've heard that from every government. The Chinese, it's a nothing burger. The Iranians, it's a nothing burger. The Americans, it's a nothing burger. As more and more people get sick and cities get locked down and international trade and finance is crushed. It's a nothing. It's the flu. Oh, that one's come back. Eugene Gu must be doing cartwheels up and down the fucking street right now. The amount of people saying, "It's just a flu, bro. The flu is so much more dangerous. Don't you understand?" I also like the obscure death rate comparisons. Did you know that you could die? More people die per year getting electrocuted by microwave ovens that get dropped into the ocean that have died from the coronavirus. All right, did you not read this article? Trust the plan. Oh, we'll get around to some of those. Mr. Bill Mitchell. Oh, financial advice of a genius. He's a god among men, might I say. Can't wait to talk about his fucking brilliant insight into shit. But let's take a look at the reality of what's going on. Just this nothing burger that sustained itself for 5 fucking weeks and is in what, 52 countries now? All over the goddamn world. How many countries is this fucking thing in? I haven't even updated this picture. It's already old. Just in the hour of me getting some minor stuff prepared for this stream, this is outdated. That's how many fucking countries it's in. It's completely in Ireland now, not just North Ireland, Ireland proper as well. So you've got the majority of Europe. Eastern Europe's got a little bit of a breather. It won't last for long. Luxembourg got hit today because they're completely surrounded by koofers. Mongolia probably has people on horseback monitoring the fucking borders. I don't know how they're holding it off. Our boy Kimmy Kim up in North Korea just basically threatening the disease itself. If any disease gets in here, there will be dire consequences. I'm almost certain that he's telling people he's going to... Uh-oh. Are you kidding me? Oh, we had a minor drop there, folks. I don't think they like it when I make fun of them. Oh. Oh. Oh boy. Hopefully that didn't show up too much there. A little bit of hiccup there. That's fine. Rather a hiccup than a coof, can I say? We got our boy Kimmy Kim over there in North Korea, who I'm almost certain is threatening nuclear annihilation to any nation that that gets him sick. Dire consequences. I almost wonder if he's going to go to war with the virus itself, just airburst a nuke, hoping to take Corona Chan out. I don't even know. How the fuck am I supposed to know? All I do know, looking at this godforsaken map of plague, is that if you played Plague Inc., this is basically victory. Really, it's just Madagascar and Greenland. If you get those, you got everybody. It's on every continent. There's nothing. How are you going to stop it? How do you stop this? Algeria, Egypt, Nigeria. Nice distribution around Africa. We've got Ecuador and Brazil. Good distribution around South America. It's in Mexico, so it'll make its way to Central America. Eastern Europe's fucked eventually. The rest of the Middle East is fucked. Turkey, Syria, you're going to get hit. Mongolia, you can't hold out for long. Good luck, though. Laos, I don't even know what they're doing. Maybe they have magic powers or something. They've held it off for a while at this fucking point. Tajikistan and all the Kyrgyzstans, I can't pronounce any of them. It's that little middle white part there. Are 4 countries that I'll never pronounce properly because I'm American and we're fucking retarded at geography. But it's everywhere. And that's in the span of, I think, to everywhere in a week. Nearly 25 nations have been added this last week, and it just keeps continuing. Now I've got to do a regional map as we follow which states go to shit on us one by one. But let's talk about, I think my pets are protecting me from the disease. Let's talk about the horrible shit that's gone on this week. Let's talk about the Dow. Oh, what a beautiful week that's been. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but negative numbers aren't good, right? When it goes red, that's a bad thing. Nearly 4,000 point drop over the course of 5 days. International markets all fucked up. Of course, I'm not a financial wizard. When I look for my investment guidance, I turn to my big boy Bill here. And this is Bill back on the 26th. I swear to God, if you listen to his advice, you lost a lot of fucking money. As I said yesterday, the coronavirus scare, hashtag, just gave the big boys a chance to take some profits and short the market for a few days. The fundamentals for our economy remain strong by the dips. So he saw a momentary turnaround and thought, oh, that's a big boy game. That's a big boy money right there. Everybody reinvest. Buy the dips. We're going back up. It's green. By the way, from the point that he tweeted that, it sank 2,500 points. Bill Mitchell, ladies and gentlemen, a fucking financial guru. You should really follow his advice when it comes to how to invest your fucking money because he knows what he's talking about. Brilliant, man. But why would the markets be reacting like this? Remember, it's just the flu, bro. It's not a big deal. Maybe it's a China factory index hitting record fucking lows. plummeting like a fucking stone to the bottom of a lake. The fact that their manufacturing capabilities and their part in the global supply chain is so fucked, it's going to take a lot longer to get back to regular than you could possibly imagine. How do I know that? Let's take a look at how I know that. Let's look at their pollution first of all. Here's a comparison from 2019 compared to 2020 using NASA imagery. You notice the difference in the pollution levels? You want to why? You want to know why that pollution levels are so fucking remarkably different? Because nobody's doing anything. Nobody's working in factories. Nobody's out on the roads. I think it's 40% of coal plants just aren't doing anything right now. It's locked the fuck down. Greta must be really happy right now. This is why she never had to deal with China. Maybe she released the virus to fix global warming. We'll never know. But analysts taking a look at the China pollution and then coming up with some interesting ideas. Nomura, which is a Japanese bank that's been monitoring the situation, the Baidu Migration Index suggests that only 37 and 33% of people that left Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities for the Lunar New Year have returned versus the 100% last year. Just a 70% drop, and that's from Morgan Stanley. But according to Nomura, the workers' return rate for 15 cities was 25% as of February 19th, only a quarter of what was recorded a year ago. So what all these financial institutions are saying is nobody's going back to work. Nobody wants to leave their house. They don't want to return to their fucking city. Now, maybe that's because they're welded into a fucking cage right now. I couldn't tell you. But what I can tell you is, based on the pollution levels and the assessments from all these different financial institutions, it looks like that 85% figure is complete bullshit that Xi Jinping was telling people when he said 85% of the factories are back at capacity. Because that's so far from reality. It's not even a lucid dream. I don't know. You're drinking some kind of concoction that will cause brain damage to come to that fucking conclusion. I'd like to welcome you to the Corona economy, where just-in-time delivery in a global supply chain, in a globalized world financial structure bites you in the ass. Where shipping things back and forth to get a product completed and then delivered to the customer is now a problem when half the world's not going to go to work or pick up a package or make an order. And we haven't even gotten to the period of time yet where paranoia sets in. See, right now it's just they're incapable of making the shit that you want to buy or shipping the stuff to each other. But wait till this spreads a little bit more. Wait till a few kids get really sick. Or a couple of parents drop dead in the street. Wait till you see the first video of a fat fucking American falling face first in the street, dead. Then you're going to reach paranoia buying. And it's not going to be people wanting to order shit from China. They're going to avoid that shit like the plague. You remember how there was a health fad for a while where fat people started reading about calories and sugar content on the back of their food? They're going to be doing that. They're going to be looking for little stickers to see where shit was made. This is coming from Italy? This is coming from Iran? Is this coming from China, South Korea, Japan? I don't want to buy that. I want American made. Just a little pro tip, too, for you out there that are trying to use this strategy. Just know there's a city in China called America. So if you buy something that says made in America, make sure it's not America, China, and it's actually America, America. Because they're going to get you with that one. But it's not just China. Other people are reporting. Coronavirus fallout spreads to manufacturers in the U.S. heartland. More than 40% of manufacturers across a swath of America's heartland reported negative effects from the coronavirus, adding to growing concerns about the economic impact of the disease globally, according to a survey released Thursday by the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. That is your just-in-time delivery. This is not going to be unfucked in a week or a month or a few months. Even if this disease disappeared with the snap of a finger by tomorrow, just to fix the fuck up in the manufacturing and distribution that's gone on is going to take months. And the markets might bounce back a little bit, and that little bunny hop's going to go right down the goddamn pit eventually. You have the FDA releasing statements saying that 20 manufacturers of brands of medications in the United States are at risk of not receiving their supplies because we receive raw components to make those medicines, 88% of them from outside of the country. So the ingredients and the drugs themselves are coming from other places. I believe 14 or 15% come from China directly. And already the FDA followed that up by saying, we're pretty sure one drug in particular is going to have a bit of a shortage. We're working on that, contacting numerous different manufacturers trying to find a workaround. Meanwhile, the FDA won't tell you what those drugs are. So good luck. Good luck if you've got a heart condition or you're cancer, or if, nobody knows what the fuck it is. Is it a prescription drug, FDA? Is it an over-the-counter drug? What is it exactly? Maybe give us a heads up so we know, so that people can prep ahead of time, so they can prepare themselves to maybe not get the medicine they might crucially need because the distributor can't deliver what is needed to make the goddamn medication. So the financial markets and the manufacturing sector are all fucked up right now, which kind of makes me think it's not a nothing burger. Kind of makes me think that things are not looking great for the world as a whole at the moment. But again, I'm not an expert on these things. For that, we'd have to go to our boy, Big Boy Bill buy the dip Mitchell, that's gonna be his saying for the next fucking 8 months. The market could go down to zero and he'd be telling you to buy the dip. A meteor could crash right into the heart of the planet, setting off a chain reaction that kills all life. And as the firewall is approaching Bill Mitchell's house, he will be tweeting out, buy the dip. That's what Bill... There could be a fucking 12.0 earthquake, unheard of. I don't even know if it's fucking possible. Yellowstone could erupt, shooting off plumes of ash into the air, and Bill Mitchell would be saying, this is a nothing burger, buy the dip. These men worship the market. Absolutely worship the economy like it's a god. And the effects, we've seen the effects on numerous sporting events, on numerous business events. Here's one for the gamers out there that might want to rise up. GDC, done. Canceled. Officially canceled this year. That's after numerous people pulled out. And Sony itself has pulled out of more events than just GDC. They don't want to go to PAX. They don't want to go to E3. And you can expect more companies to follow suit. And a lot of these cancellations that are coming up, they're not just for February or for March. They go into April, they go into May, they go into June. You know, when Singapore was tracing down the cluster of exposure, when they looked at that super spreader, that British guy that went to France and then to other parts of Europe and then back to the UK, that guy got traced all the way back to a business convention, a business meeting. Our scout leader friend, of course, scout leader in Southeast Asia, our scout leader friend, in a Singapore business meeting. Because these conventions are breeding grounds for it. When you do international travel, you spread it all over the place. We saw France pay the price for this. France, after Italy announced that new cases were exploding, what did France say? We're not going to close our borders. And where do we sit today? Italy now has infected, 15 countries? And Iran has infected 11. Maybe shut the fucking borders and turn the planes away. But no, they wanted to be multicultural and diverse, accepting about this, and believe in the global human family or whatever bullshit. I don't know exactly what the brilliant logic behind it was, but instead of shutting the fucking border immediately after this, France sees an explosion in cases coming from Italy. So our pasta-loving brethren have been giving the gift all over Europe, and Iran has been giving the gift all over the Middle East, to the point that the Saudis have shut down some of the holiest sites in Islam. Because at least they have the common sense to know that that is a fucking disaster waiting to happen. Now, I don't know if Jerusalem is going to close down the Wailing Wall. Are the Catholics going to shut down St. Petersburg Square? I don't know. But it might be something to consider. Do you really want to create large public gatherings where disease can spread easily? They're already starting to see the benefits of maybe not having huge gatherings, as certain countries are announcing limitations on the size that can be put together. Anything over 5,000, I believe in France, is a no-go now. 4,999 is that much safer. That one less dude is going to make the world's difference. But at least it's something. It's more than what was before. This world is run by idiots. Good case in point. Let's talk about the press conference with Trump today. Now, he had his little virologist guy, and I do mean little. Oh, he's the tiny little dude. Now, I mean, to be fair, Trump is like 7 feet tall. I can't remember the guy's name exactly, but he's like Oompa Loompa sized. Like, if you put Ben Shapiro next to this dude, Ben Shapiro would look like a giant. And he got up there and he said something I found really interesting. There is no reinfection. Bullshit. You can't say that with a serious face. And I'm going to show you why. So let's go through the idea of reinfection or the disease simply not leaving you. Let's look at some news articles. You tell me. Okay, they want to use morbidity and mortality and all this stuff. They want to take the numbers from China and the data from China and say it's acceptable. Well, if you're going to take that, you got to take it all. And taking all of it means you take all of it. Let's look. Coronavirus. Wuhan to quarantine all cured patients for another 14 days after some test positive again. Decision follows several instances in which recovered patients were found to still be carrying the virus and able to infect others. From Guangdong, 14% of recovered coronavirus patients in China's Guangdong tested positive again. From Jingzhou, first confirmed COVID case in Jingzhou, again tested positive after discharge from hospital 2 weeks prior. His daughter also tested positive after recovery. The two of them are now back in the hospital and they're hospitalized for a second go around. But it's not just China. In Ontario, a couple have recovered but are still testing positive for coronavirus after they had to do fecal swabs and they found the virus still present for weeks after their recovery period. Well, let's look at South Korea. South Korean woman reinfected with coronavirus after recovery. Not just South Korea either. Let's go over to Japan. Japan confirms first case of person reinfected with coronavirus. The reinfection has health officials worried the illness could stay dormant after signs of recovery. China, Canada, South Korea, Japan. I'm almost fairly 100% certain this happened for Israel too. One of the people that went through quarantine and a recovery period ended up getting the fucking disease again. So it's really one of two things. You get it and it doesn't go away, or you get it and you get reinfected easily. 14 fucking percent of cases, they're saying in Guangdong, are getting reinfected. They're seeing examples of it in South Korea, Japan, and potentially the Ontario one. So for him to get up on television and say reinfection's bullshit. No, once you get rid of the virus, you're good to go. No, not true. Bullshit. Bullshit. It's a dangerous thing to get up there and say, especially if you're going to spout off Chinese numbers at me. If you're going to give me Chinese data and act like that's accurate, you fucking take all of it. You don't helpfully leave out portions of it to make it so people don't panic. Because, we got to protect the markets, right? That's what we have to protect. Fuck the American people. I need my markets to recover. It's ridiculous. I'm watching a press conference on a fucking health crisis, and the first thing I hear is blood and treasure and a fucking Taliban. And then I'm told, I swear to God, I'm not making it up. This poor, beautiful woman that died in Washington, really tragic. By the way, Apple tells me iPhones are back on the market. Hooray. Get your fucking priorities straight. What is going on? And it's not, I don't want to make it seem like this is just America. Every fucking country is doing this. They're late every time. They're always behind when it comes to mitigation and control. And I'd also really love just one journalist in the world who gets a chance when you get to call in on the World Health Organization telepress conference or the Center for Disease Control telepress conference. Please ask the following. You've said multiple times that China's ability to control this was instrumental in stopping its spread, and that based on that, you believe we can control it as well. What portion exactly of how China handled this do you believe we should implement? Are you saying that forced quarantine camps and welding people in their apartment is the way that the American government wants to take it? I'd love to see one of those fuckers answer that question. I'd love to see the response to that. Just give it to me. Throw the answer back to me so I can know where we're going with that. Reinfection is impossible. Bullshit. I don't know if it's reinfection. I don't know if this thing goes dormant. I don't know what it does. But you know what I've come to the conclusion on? They don't know either. They've had 2 months to fucking play with this thing. They've got the whole sequence of the goddamn thing. They've got it modeled and fucking printed out and put in a poster on their wall. And they still don't know how the fucking thing operates. So it just bothers me to hear them say low risk. Well, you can't tell me it's low risk if you don't know how it fucking functions and operates in a population. You know, this idea of trying to sell it to the American people of, well, young people are going to be fine. I've seen Bill Mitchell and others really put this forward. And I want you to get this into your mind of what they're actually saying. Young people will be fine. If you're 20 or 30 or 40, you're fine. which is, again, untrue because 20, 30, and 40-year-olds do die. But if you're 20, 30, and 40, you're fine. It's just the old people that die. So is that the campaign slogan going into 2020? Vote Trump, you only have to bury your parents? Are you going to tell a bunch of 30 and 40-year-olds that, don't worry, you'll live through it, but you'll have to, bury mom and dad and grandpa and grandma? What a horrible fucking thing to say. What a retarded thing to say. You know, the case in Oregon we have is a teacher that may have infected students, and the case in Washington we have is a student that may have infected other students. So they're young, they're healthy. Let's say they don't have any of the, comorbidities that might play a part in it, like obesity and diabetes and all this other shit. Let's say they're just healthy, young kids, they're fine. They get it, they get the sniffles, they're fine. Except mom and dad live with them. How old are mom and dad? What shape are mom and dad in? So the kids get it, they recover from it, they spread it to mom and dad. Mom and dad get sick, they get sent off to a coof camp. Now who's taking care of the kids? You know, we've looked at one aspect of this, of how are the hospitals going to handle the surge? Are they going to be able to handle having a bunch of people in the ICU if it really starts to spread? Here's a better question. Is social services going to be able to handle taking care of all these fucking kids that are going to be stuck home alone when mom and dad have to go to the hospital? Who's going to look after them? You going to tell little Timmy and Becky, best of luck, here's a can of tuna, see you in a fucking month? It just feels like there's no game plan within the United States on what anybody's going to do. And if you look at each state's press conference individually, they're telling you more than the federal level is telling you. In Washington, they told people in their press conference, you need to have a pandemic preparedness plan. In Minnesota, they said the same fucking thing. They said it on the 24th of, what is that, 5 days ago now. Oregon even briefly touched on this. So each of the individual states is basically saying, yeah, you better get ready, shit's coming. And yet at the federal level, we're told, no, it's not a big deal. No, it's not. You guys need to relax. You even have the Surgeon General parroting what was said in the press conference today. Seriously, people, stop buying masks. They're not effective in preventing general public from catching coronavirus. But if healthcare providers can't get them to take care of sick patients, it puts our communities at risk. What kind of supply chain are we looking at here in the United States where the fucking Surgeon General needs to run out to a hardware store to buy masks for the doctors? You're telling people they can't buy consumer goods because you can't get the back end of your distribution working? Am I supposed to understand that hospitals and clinics around this country are so inept and fucked when it comes to procuring protective equipment that they're going to have to go to the local Walmart to do it? And I also like this, it's kind of like a backhand right to your face if you're a stupid American. You're too dumb, pleb. You little peon, you're too stupid to use a mask. That's for the doctors. You go out there and you let them coof in your mouth. You let them spit right in your mouth. You're going to like it. Oh, you like getting coofed on, don't you? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, I really want to listen to the Surgeon General tell me I don't need a mask when the fucking health department pulls this shit. U.S. workers without protective gear assisted coronavirus evacuees, HHS whistleblower says. Does it ever end with this fucking country? Our Surgeon General's telling you don't protect yourself. The health workers that were designated to work with the evacuees from the Diamond Princess and overseas weren't wearing protective gear. The Center for Disease Control can't make a fucking test that works. In fact, they sent broken tests with a bad reagent out to about 12 states that gave false results. They had to send the goddamn test kits back. How do you fuck up on that level? These are multiple government organizations. It's not one. That's 3 of them that have been fucking up. Don't protect yourself. We'll protect ourselves, though. Apparently not. And then here's our test kit, which doesn't work. That'll be $3,500 plus tip, please. You know, I heard they're even charging the evacuees now for the fucking flight and the hospitalization quarantine. Oh, that's great. A international health crisis breaks out. You get brought back by the U.S. military, and they charge you fucking $50,000 for it. Maybe you should have just let the virus take you. Let's look at how the Brits are preparing for it. They must have a sunny disposition on this. New. I understand the Cabinet Office has been in communication with local authorities about, I love the name of this, excess death contingency planning. Effectively, their mass death preparedness plans in the event of a coronavirus being at the upper end of worst. I'm told the topic of the Cabinet Office local authority discussions include potential and new, perhaps mass burial sites. White Hill sources emphasize such discussions or instructions are uncommon but not unprecedented. For example, in 2009 with the swine flu outbreak. The Cabinet Office spokesman told Newsnight, "We've been clear from the outset that we expect coronavirus to have some impact on the UK, which is why we're planning for every eventuality, including the reasonable worst-case scenario." So over in merry old Bongland, they're debating how big a pit to dig to bulldoze your asses into. This doesn't really inspire the greatest confidence, does it? I say, Nigel, how big should we make the pit? I don't know. Do you have a license for that pit? Are you prepared for the pit, Nigel? How deep did we make it? Oh, what a nightmare. What an absolute clusterfuck of a nightmare. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, good stuff. Oh, if it couldn't get any crazier, let's talk about crazy incarnate. Let's talk about Shinji. I know I brought this up before. We've talked about the Shinji cult and its connection, having an organization located in Wuhan they scrubbed from the internet, being connected to the mass case outbreaks in South Korea and in Israel. But apparently, Shinji's out there doing a little bit more. Singapore's onto him. South Korean cult's activities in Singapore mirror its shadowy operations elsewhere. Singapore is now thinking of banning the religion outright and just throwing their ass out of the country. Probably a smart move considering this particular story. Coronavirus in South Korea, mounting anger, rumors over Shinji Church as cases rise. It's a second little bullet point I think you're really going to find fascinating. Anger and mistrust reached a peak when an online post detailed its alleged plans to infiltrate traditional churches to spread the virus. So they're talking about becoming living bio bombs and going to different religious gatherings and giving the gift. Now, why would that be interesting? Well, Pope Francis cancels third day of events amid mysterious illness. Now, I know they've said that this disease originally began back in December, maybe even November. I seem to remember an event that took place, was it January? Let's see if we can look at what happened. Oh, you let me coof on you. You come here, Pope. You come here, Pope. I'm gonna coof on you. Shinji says hello. Oh, here come the coofs. Here come the blessed coofs for the Blessed Father. So Shinji's out there working their magic, doing their thing. It's an amazing side plot. I have to tell you, out of the pandemic, it's a pandemic. Out of the pandemic, watching the Church of Shinji do its thing has been just remarkable. Bio-bombing religions. That's the point we've reached. I don't even know what level of fiction we're on anymore. I can't fucking keep track of it at this point. It doesn't end. Oh, he's gonna get coofed. Holy shit. Gotta watch out for those Shinji guys. They're out there everywhere. Now, I don't know if you've prepped. I don't know if you've run down to the Home Depot in your fucking hazmat level 4 gear and asked the dude if he's got any N95s in stock, but from what I hear, they're selling out pretty much everywhere. I understand scalpers have really jumped in on this shit, buying stock up and then trying to sell it on Amazon or eBay for ridiculous marked up prices. I'm hoping you listened the last time I did this and say, hey, maybe be reasonable. You know, just get a couple of basic things so you're good to go in case anything happens. Well, things have happened. And that's kind of the point we're at right now. We've got 2 local cases of transmission happening in California. And that really was probably predictable. I mean, we saw the San Francisco city government or county government and a couple others declare local states of emergency, and everybody was trying to figure out why are they doing that? There aren't any local cases. And then mysteriously, a few days later, there are. And then it's followed up immediately with one in Oregon, which is right outside Portland. I believe it was Washington County, Oregon. And then a case in Washington, and the county that happened in, I believe, is just a little north of Seattle. So you've got three cases near three major population centers. I'm sorry, four cases spread out across three states near major population centers. Now, how is California going to cope with this? I mean, let's go back to the map here. I mean, it's not greatly detailed, I admit. But what exactly is California going to do? It has a massive homeless population. It's got some fairly populated cities. And I believe the two cases that transpired were 90 miles apart, which either means that there are two different sources for each of them, or they met and traveled a distance of 90 miles from one another, koofing along the way. So I have a feeling if it's going to kick out anywhere in the United States, if we're going to see an outbreak anywhere in the United States, it's most definitely going to be in California. Why wouldn't it be in California? As for the other states, well, I know there was some worry about New Jersey. I don't know how the testing is going on that. I believe it was New York or New Jersey. I can't remember. There was one state that a cruise ship docked at, and there's video of it. This is like 3 or 4 weeks back, and they just let him off the ship. They didn't give a shit. So who knows what happened with that. 83 cases in New York that are under observation. I believe the governor in California said 8,700 in California under observation. 325 in Washington. 300 some odd in Michigan. There at this point, I believe, are probably over 12,000 people that are in self-isolation, self-quarantine, or under observation. I'd like to remind you, again, as I've said this in previous streams, that there was a case of a woman in Japan who self-quarantined for 14 days, and 3 days out of her quarantine tested positive. So this is just another fucking example of how unprepared we are. This 14-day quarantine period obviously doesn't work if she's getting out of quarantine and suddenly is testing positive. If one of them can do it, more of them can. And if there are 8,700 of them under self-quarantine or observation or isolation in California, imagine just a few hundred of them doing that. Except they don't get tested 3 days later or 4 days later. They just go out and commingle. They go to a party. They go to a fucking club. They go to the heart of Los Angeles or San Francisco and just coof it up. Oh, I bet you Silicon Valley's shitting itself. All those tech companies, they're all based out there. They must be fucking terrified. They think that work from home shit's gonna coast them through on it, I'm sure. But the reality of being in a lockdown situation probably won't be pleasant. I mean, Italy's only so far had to do it to 11 cities. And I'm sure South Korea, if it keeps spreading like it is, at least in the, Daegu or whatever it is, will probably consider trying to lock down portions of it, or maybe the whole damn thing. I don't know. But it is spreading. You know what? Fuck it. Let's take a look at the list of the names of all the goddamn places that are currently infected. I just want to, well, it's like the Animaniacs, except I can't sing and it's not going to be a great little song. But what I can do is just list off the countries in the last 2 weeks that have been affected, just so you have an idea. Just a minor idea of who's getting pinged here. They should be listed in order of what happened. So you've got North Ireland, Ireland, Luxembourg, Ecuador, Qatar, Monaco, Iceland, Azerbaijan, Mexico, Belarus, New Zealand, Lithuania, Nigeria, San Marino, Netherlands, Estonia, Denmark, Romania, Norway, Georgia, North Macedonia, Pakistan, Greece, Brazil, Algeria, Switzerland, Croatia, Austria, Afghanistan, Lebanon, Egypt, Belgium, Sri Lanka, and then it gets into the others. I think Sri Lanka is actually an older one, and Belgium might be as well. Because now they're starting to finally, or BNO is finally organizing the shit. And of course, Iran. Iran with 593 cases and 43 deaths. Italy with 1,100 cases and 29 deaths. And South Korea with 3,100 cases and 17 deaths. Also, Italy has only 46 recovered and 105 in serious condition. So 29 dead, 105 in serious condition, 46 recovered. South Korea, out of 3,100 people, only has 24 recovered. But somehow Iran, with its magical powers, 123 recovered. I don't know how they're pulling that off. They found the magic formula. I guess we should all be asking them their super secret, because their kill rate right now with the combined recovered death and then divided would only be 25% mortality rating. So congratulations. But worldwide, we're sitting at 6,700 cases, 107 deaths, and 204 people in serious critical condition. I mean, yesterday was it South Korea had 818 cases that came out of fucking nowhere? 818. They're going to be breaking 4 digits pretty soon. France is at, God, was it France that exploded? One of them shot up to 100. Germany's dealing with it. Everybody's dealing with it. Every day now, it's 3 cases here, 4 cases there, 10 cases there. And then in the major centers of Italy, Iran, and South Korea, numerous fucking cases. And that's how you end up with a picture that looks like this. That's how you get there. How long will it take for everybody else? I don't know. There's rumors that Chile's going to get hit next. I wouldn't be surprised. There's certain countries that are just kind of sitting there just waiting to get ass fucked. Looking at you, Slovenia. So they're surrounded on all sides by the Kufers. Eventually, it's coming for them. I honest to God, listening to the headlines and watching this, it's Plague Inc. In fact, if you took every news headline from the last month and put it into a Plague Inc. game, people wouldn't even notice a difference. They would think it was just the normal game. Because it sounds just like the fucking game. No wonder China banned the sale of it on the Apple Store, or the App Store, in the whole country. They don't want people flipping shit, thinking they're on ultra hard, or whatever the fuck it is. What the fuck? The only safe place is going to be out in space, but even then, she's going to be tapping on the window. Tickety tap. Let me in. I'm just a 2D anime girl. Let me in. Let me in and share the oxygen. Come on. Look, can I just let me in? Oh, I don't know. It's been crazy to watch. Fascinating to watch. But it is the complete opposite of a nothing burger. And anybody telling you it's a nothing burger is handicapped. Look at the map. Look at the map. It's been going on for over a month. This is what you would call a major world event. This will go in a history book. For the economic disruption, for the loss of life, and the health affected of this many nations, for the response and the panic. Oh, wait till the panic buying starts. Wait till they really get freaked out. Wait till, California starts to really have some shit go down. And just see what happens to their Walmarts and their Costcos and all of that shit. I think it was a Costco in Hawaii had to limit people from buying toilet paper because they were buying too much of it. Everybody's starting to get a little nervous, noticing things are starting to go missing a little bit here and there. Nothing catastrophic, but it's starting to catch people's eyes. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you're out and about doing your normal daily thing. You'll probably hear people start to talk about it now, because it's impossible to ignore. It's affecting so many different events, so many things that people watch or take part in, sporting events, gatherings, and so forth. They can't ignore it, especially with the Dow and the world markets in general. You can't. There's just no way that you're not aware of what the fuck is going on. So now we get to play the waiting game. Now we got the regional map, and we get to see how it spreads in the U.S. I don't know. Now I was pretty sure it was going to be on a coast. It looks like it was fairly right on that. It was on the west coast. I really expect that the next place it's going to pop up is either going to be the south or the east. So maybe Texas, and maybe like New York or New Jersey. I mean, that's kind of where I'm seeing it going. There's always a chance Florida could get hit, but who fucking knows? Florida man is so coked up and methed up that maybe he's impervious to it. Everybody else, it's a crapshoot. I don't know. Planes are flying all over the country, so you get one Coofer from California that wants to visit the Midwest, and boom, there you go. You get a Coofer from Texas that wants to take a trip on over to Georgia. There you go. Oh, Las Vegas. Oh, you go. Oh, God, all the political shit that's planned for this year is a breeding ground for this shit. That's exactly what happened in Iran. They didn't want to warn people or have them take protective measures because they wanted them to show up and vote. And then cases started showing up everywhere. Oh, wait till that happens here. I don't know, with the distribution around the world of the numerous countries it's in and the different temperate zones that it's showing up in. I don't think the best estimate the CDC gave of it disappearing magically come April is going to happen. And even if it did, what a horrifying thought that this is seasonal? That this abomination of a disease is seasonal, is what you're telling me? And an illness that people apparently can't come to terms with defining properly. Does it reinfect you or not? Does it stay in your system or not? Are people more prone to having it go dormant in them or not? Why does it attack your body differently when it pops up the second time and the third time? What about infertility? All these kids that are getting it, let's say, oh, well, you're 19, you're 20, you're 30, whatever. Well, is infertility going to be a risk? Sure, it's not going to kill you, but they've already said that that's a risk that they're ascertaining. So it kills the old men and it makes the young men infertile. What a great biological weapon. And I also love how that one narrative is finally dead. Remember, it was the Wuhan wet market. Everybody, God, they wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. Oh, it's somebody ate bat soup, which is a joke. And everybody knew it was bullshit. And finally, even China itself is admitting it's bullshit. In fact, they had a call into the WHO where a Chinese journalist was like, well, hey, are we sure that another country didn't bring it in? So now even China's trying to use the it's a biological weapon angle, but they're trying to blame it on somebody else. So I don't know who they're going to go with. Maybe they'll do what the Filipino Senate did and say it's all Bill Gates' fault. But these are interesting times. And this is probably some of the most fascinating shit I've watched transpire in real time. Just watching countries that are smug as fuck and arrogant about not having to worry about it suddenly get some pants-shitting terror fall over them is amazing. And it keeps repeatedly happening. South Korea, poor South Korea, home of the Shinji cult, really is getting nailed. And everybody else is just getting slapped around. There was a story from the Brisbane Times, I believe, 2 days ago, talking about how Australia had a fighting chance because they didn't trust the World Health Organization, because the World Health Organization was beholden to China, that they were holding the purse strings and they couldn't trust what they said. They needed to come up with their own plan independently, which I think is, honest to God, the truth. I wouldn't trust the WHO either. I don't trust our boy Teddy one little bit. Mr. Let's cover up those cholera epidemics in Africa so I can get that position at that fancy international organization. So what is it? 28th to 29th. The very end of February is when we finally get local transmission and the first on-soil U.S. death. So there you go. Where's it going to be in a week or two? Who knows? Are there going to be more cases popping up? Absolutely. I believe the FDA and CDC are now letting people get tested. California had to fight to get the first one tested. I believe Washington had a similar situation because they didn't fit the criteria the CDC wanted. But now that they've been proven to be idiots for having that criteria and being so stringent with it, now they've fast-tracked other labs to start handling it and doing it. Will the tests work? Who knows? I mean, the fucking thing fails even when it's a good test 30 to 50% of the time. And then I guess apparently half the time they're bad tests to begin with. So can you trust any result you get? I don't know. God, I'd love for some experts to really sit down and make sense of this shit. Create like a paper pipeline of the research of every nation and funnel it together so you can cross-check everything that everybody's come to. Start analyzing statistically the different conclusions and try to come up with some commonalities to see where to go with, rather than pissing in each other's faces because it's not a high enough standard. You have people quoting the R naught factor from China saying that it's good. And yet if you read the paper from Los Alamos, they say that the initial R naught was bullshit. That they think it wasn't 2.2 to 2.6, but more like 3.7 to 6.6. And an R naught of 6, by the way, is fucking smallpox, which is a super fun disease, nice and spreadable. So you can't even get an accurate number on that. Now, sure, it's going to vary if it's a metropolitan area compared to the countryside, right? But there's got to be somebody has to start focusing on this shit and getting some solid stuff together, because it's like every week there's some new twist to this thing. All right, Corona Chan is a crafty girl. All right, she's a smart one. She's not like Ebola Chan. All right, she's not going to kill her hosts off so quickly she can't get around. She's not going to pull that mirror shit or that SARS shit. All right, she wants to get in there, get deep in there, spread herself around a little bit, maybe crush your testicles, make your heart explode, and scar your lungs a little bit before she starts doing her damage. A crafty, crafty girl. You need to keep your eye on her. So I'd love for somebody to make sense of what the fuck is going on, in particular with this disease. I mean, I'll tell you, Chad, I like my balls, and I like to keep them. All right, I like to keep them functional. All right, I don't want to get this fucking thing, have a koofing fit for a week and a half, and then find out my boys don't work anymore. So let's make that a fucking priority first, and then work our way backwards to the heart attack and lung scarring shit. Oh, fuck. Yes, Chad, she's a naughty girl. You're correct. Yeah, and then there was that confusion too because there was apparently I don't know this, but there's apparently a difference between ACE double I and ACE2, and people were confusing them on how it would affect. Is it racially specific? Is it specific to certain kinds of tissue and organs? God, there's so much shit that comes up out about this thing from so many different sources, from the Lancet to Los Alamos to different universities to different hospitals, and everybody's got their own hot fucking take, and they're all getting different results somehow, and I don't know how the fuck that's possible. And I just don't trust the World Health Organization, and my faith in the CDC is shaken. I thought the American response in the very beginning was really nice and solid. We're going to set up quarantine bases in 15 areas so we can get people from overseas into an area that's secure. We're gonna do the testing ourselves, and yet here we find ourselves in a situation where the Japanese, the South Koreans, the Israelis, the Chinese, and the Italians have tested more fucking people than the U.S. has. How is that possible? How is the CDC tested 400 fucking people and everybody else is up into the four digits? What the fuck is going on? It makes zero sense. there's no logical sense. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's mutating. Somebody in chat says. I don't know if it'd be mutating awfully fucking fast to be pulling that shit off. Where it's this many different results in this many different areas. I don't know. Maybe it is. This thing is like a jack of all trades. So maybe it's just maybe somebody made a real life version of some monstrosity from Plague Inc. and unleashed it on the world. I don't know. Whoever that mad scientist is really broke the bank with this shit. Somebody said the UK has tested 7,000. So there you go. That's another country. So America, 400 people. United Kingdom, 7,000. South Koreans, 50,000. Japanese, I believe, are in the thousands. Italians are in the thousands. Israelis, I'm almost certain they've tested more than 400 people. Is it in It is in San Antonio? Yeah. So the Americans are doing their numbers in a really weird way. There are what they call, I don't even know how the fuck this works exactly, but we've got our evacuees from the Diamond Princess that are one category of infected. People we've taken from China and Japan that weren't on the ship are another group, and then the American infected. So you got like three different running numbers. So when they tell you, oh, we've only got 60 or we've only got 22 infected, no, we've got 60. All right, if you add them all together, there are about 60 in the United States. Some are in Texas. Those are evacuees from the Diamond Princess, and I believe one from a Japanese hospital or maybe from somewhere in China. And then you've got people in, Omaha at that really fancy Ebola facility. Those are evacuees as well. You've got other evacuees in California. And this is what the fight was earlier with Costa Mesa in California and then wherever it was in Alabama. They wanted to bring evacuees there, and they said, fuck that, we don't want them. So altogether, when you add them all up, 60 cases of it, and then you've got a bunch of people under observation, self isolation, and self quarantine. But I'd love to have some real, hard numbers where we don't make 19 different categories and pull the Chinese bullshit of, well, this is category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and when we split the numbers up like that, it looks less serious. How about just straight numbers? How many do you suspect, including all the quarantine, isolation, observation? And then how many confirmed? And then fuck where they came from. But just how many in the United States that are confirmed? Because that difference between 22 and 60 is very bizarre. It's very weird. Yes, Chad. Kufers rise up. A few hail to Nurgles. Somebody said WrestleMania is happening in April in Tampa. Well, that's brilliant. I'm sure that won't go badly. Yes, as far as I understand, Dick Pound, which is a real name, a member of the International Olympic Committee, voiced some concern about the Olympics, but apparently they're going to go ahead as scheduled. I guess WrestleMania is going to go ahead as scheduled. We'll have to see. Maybe if it spreads more in the United States, that won't happen. But a great breeding ground. I mean, Carnival in Brazil. What is it? Mardi Gras is another a great hot spot in the U.S. Yeah, it's just nightmare scenario. Just the time of year, the amount of shit coming up. If it doesn't burn itself out in a month, it's not going to be great. Not going to be good times ahead. Oh, it feels good to get that out. Yeah, I watched that press conference. I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I found one of the funnier questions from the Trump conference earlier when he was talking about potential border closings. Who we're going to do? Iran, Italy, South Korea, blocking off travel makes sense. And then he said, we're considering closing the southern border. And I must have been somebody who worked for Telemundo. She kind of had like a Spanish accent. Asked him or said to him basically, why would you close the southern border? Mexico has less cases than you. Yeah, yeah, I guess honestly that's true. If anything, Mexico should shut their northern border to protect themselves because right now Americans are more contagious. We've got we've got cases in Texas and in California. Mexico needs to shut that border down and secure itself. That's some of the funniest shit I heard. I don't think he found the humor in it, but I did. Yes, Chad. His name is Dick Pound, and he works for the International Olympic Committee, which is amazing. Is everyone dead? No, not everyone's dead yet. No, they're they're still kicking. Actually, yes, I do believe it was a FEMA camp location in Alabama they wanted to put people in. I'm not even making that up. Yeah, I can check on that. Let me check on that. Make Alex Jones pop a vein. Let's see where that was. Okay, this is from CBS 42. Oh, don't autoplay videos on me. I hate when you. Ugh, fuck you, Slumberland. Okay, Calhoun County officials expect cruise ship passengers who test positive for the coronavirus to arrive Wednesday to the FEMA Center in Anniston. Yeah, they wanted to send them to a FEMA camp in Anniston, Alabama. That's where they were going to be housing them. I'm sure Alex Jones is literally bouncing off the fucking walls right now at the mere mention of that. Put him in the FEMA coffins. Oh yeah, it sounds like fun, doesn't it? Everybody wants to take a trip on down to the FEMA camps. I'm sure that'd be it's like Disney World. It's Disney World for the sick. I'm sure it's a joyous fucking occasion at the FEMA camps. Let them go. No, Alabama fought pretty hard not to let them in. They didn't want any fucking part of that shit. Yes, yes, we are going to have our own coof camps. That is correct, Chad. The coof camps are they're coming. The coof camps are coming. That is correct. Oh, usually I thought this would be like, oh, I'll do a stream maybe like once a week, because then you can kind of compile all the shit that's going on. But it's spreading so quickly, especially the last 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. If you blink, you miss it. I mean, every day it's at least three countries. Sometimes getting up of like 10. The thought of this popping up everywhere like that, it's kind of fucked up. In Nigeria, I think it was an Italian tourist, and I think he tried to run away from the hospital ward. I think he tried to abscond and get away from Nigerian quarantine. I wish I had that article. I don't have that in front of me, but if you look it up, it's pretty good. It's pretty good shit. Let me just check one last thing. Well, yeah, I'm just gonna check BNO because for all I know, during the time that I've talked, some other fucking thing has happened. Somebody's gotten infected. Some other catastrophe has befallen the world. Let's see. Okay, it looks like Washington did their press conference. Let's see what the details are. CDC Washington report of the first COVID death. Okay. The Centers of Disease Control and Prevention and public health officials in the state of Washington have reported 3 hospitalized patients who have tested presumptive positive for COVID 19, including the patient who died. 2 of the patients are from long-term care facilities, where one is a healthy care worker. Additional residents and staff at the the long care the facility have not yet been tested or are reportedly either ill with symptoms or hospitalized of an unknown cause. The patient who died was a male in his 50s being treated at the same hospital. He was not a resident at the healthcare facility, though. Okay, so what? So 2 of the patients are from a long-term healthcare facility where one, okay, oh, I see what it is. So a nurse at a healthcare facility, so an old age home. So do they have 3 community cases in Washington? Is that what they're saying? So they have a healthcare worker that's doing okay, and then a patient of theirs that's bad. And then the guy that died wasn't at the same place. He was not a resident. CDC erroneously identified the patient as female in a briefing earlier today with the president and vice president. While there's an ongoing investigation, the source of these infections are currently unknown. Circumstances suggest person-to-person spread in the community. There you go. So that's your breaking news for the day, folks. It's not just so it's 2 cases in California, 1 in Oregon, and this would be four in Washington. The kid from yesterday, the healthcare worker, and the old man in the old age home today, and the one that died. So 4 community spread cases in Washington State. Let's see what else it says. Oh, CDC is sending a team of experts. Well, that puts me at ease. We all know they're experts are such fucking geniuses with the way things have been going up until this point. We recognize that this is a difficult time. We're facing a historic public health challenge. We continue to respond to COVID 19 in an aggressive way to contain and blunt the threat of the virus. While we still hope for the best, we continue to prepare for the virus to become. Okay, while we hope for the best, these 3 cases bring the total COVID 19 detected in the U.S. to 22. But they're community spread, so wouldn't it be more than that? God, I don't know what's going on with their fucking numbers. All right, well, there you go. There you go. It's cat's out of the bag. If it's an old age home, fuck, that's the worst place for it to be. I mean, everybody keeps saying, "Oh, it just kills the old people." Well, that's it's going to be a nightmare in that place. I'll tell you that much. I'm going to guess the nurse got it and gave it to the patient. If the patient's already in the old age home, they're probably not going out and partying every night. So every patient she interacted with is at risk now. Oh, what a nightmare. What an absolute fucking shit show of a nightmare. Oh, is the stream dropping? I should be refreshing. Mic keeps dying. Okay, I'm not sure why my mic is dying on you guys. Sorry. looks like they're coming for me. The Koofers are coming to get me, guys. Audio cut out. It should be fine. I'm showing a full bar right now. Check the audio on the stream. They're probably not going out. No, yeah, it's coming through when I listen. Just F5 should be doing it. Yeah, just refresh should work. Maybe the Lemon Emperor sent one of his tech ninjas to take me out. I don't know. It's a potentiality. Something that could possibly happen. But yeah, sum up, it looks like the cases in Washington are now up to 4 potential community spread cases outside of the one identified yesterday, 3 today. One includes a death, and 2 include people that were located in an old age home. 2 in California, 1 in Oregon, which would bring the total, I mean, if I'm reading that right, would bring the total to 7 local community person to person transmissions of unknown origin. Oh, yeah, Seattle and Portland are fucked, aren't they? I thought it was going to be California first, maybe like LA or San Francisco, but maybe Portland and Seattle are going to be the first ones to get bent over and fucked in their ass. Not fun times ahead.